What is going on, you guys? So today I have another episode for you. This one is by a guy named Austin Dunham. He's got a really great channel, and this video is called 10 Worst Testosterone Killers. Avoid these at all costs. Let's get into it.
Testosterone will make you feel more tired, make it difficult to build muscle, and even harder for you to meet women in your everyday life. So today I'm gonna give you 10 things that are potentially draining your testosterone levels. And at the end, I want you to count how many of these do you have, because if you have more than 3, you might be in big trouble. Starting off with number 1, and that is excessive alcohol consumption. Now we all know alcohol is bad. It's bad for multiple reasons, not only for our health, because it's quite literally poison to our brains. However, if you're somebody who finds yourself drinking, I would say more than 2 to 3 drinks a week, actually more than 2, not even be modest here, more than 2 drinks a week, you are killing your testosterone levels, you're killing your ability to synthesize protein. Overall, it is just horrible for you. So coming back on alcohol can actually help you preserve your testosterone levels, and I feel like this is fairly easy to do. Number 2, this is going to be a lack of sleep.
Interesting, because he didn't dive too deep into it. He's trying to make a quick video, right? But be careful of who you put yourself around too, because a lot of people will have like massive coping mechanisms around it. Like basically they're insecure, so they'll try to force you to drink with them. Like, oh bro, like you're too uptight, loosen up. It's okay to have one every once in a while, this and that, right? Come on, bro. Like what's wrong with you? Like why aren't you drinking? You're drinking water? Like all sorts of things like that. And you just have to be, if you have this goal in mind and you prioritize your health, you just have to be strong enough in your willpower to say no, or just not hang out with those sorts of people, or at least in those sorts of environments.
Now this year I've gained a vast importance on my sleep quality, and I make sure that every night I get minimum 7 hours. I've done a few hacks, such as mouth taping, such as even taping my nose to make sure I breathe better, making sure that I don't drink too much water before I go to bed, otherwise I'm interrupting my sleep schedule too much by getting up and going to pee. I even use an Oura ring to track my sleep every night. So if you aren't getting at least 7 to 8 hours, once again, this is not only bad on your health, but also horrible for your testosterone, because testosterone levels naturally rise during sleep, and it's gonna hit this peak levels in the morning. So if you're cutting corners on your sleep, or if you get like 2, 3, 4 hours, you're missing out on these vital peak phases. Not only that, but chronic sleep deprivation is going to interrupt your body's natural sort of hormone cycles, and also it's going to increase your stress hormones, and just overall that's going to tank your testosterone. Now let's talk about stress levels.
Yeah, a couple things there. I mean, one, like a lot of people do the same thing there. Like they're like, oh bro, like I'm the type of guy who only needs 4 hours of sleep. It's like, no, you're not, right? Like you've been doing it for so long that like you're basically coming up with a justification or concessions for why it's okay, when really it's not. Like it's really affecting your body in a bad way. And so what I would recommend for you is I hope that you find a way to start optimizing your sleep so that you can get healthier, right? Because that's going to make your life so much better, right? Just overall in every different area. Because he was just talking about like your health, your testosterone, these things optimized through sleep. And now, outside of the justifications people come up with, like, oh, it's okay if I get 4 hours or something like that. Like, you never really catch up on sleep when you get like 4 hours and then 12 hours. It's better for your body to always sleep at the same time, right? So like, let's say 10 to 6 a.m. or the same time all the time, rather than changing the times, because you throw off your circadian rhythm or your biological clock, basically. And then, yeah, just also making sure that it's always 8 hours or around there. And the thing he was saying, I haven't looked too much into this myself, but from my understanding, like, I know it looked funny, right? But the nose tape, I believe, opens up your nasal pathways, like your airways. And so basically it becomes easier for you to breathe, right? Obviously. But the reason for the mouth tape actually is breathing through your mouth isn't as good for you as it is through your nose, right? Especially for guys, right? So like, funny enough, the nose breathing actually helps increase testosterone, which is why he's talking about it, right? So like, even with things like doing squats and deadlifts and heavy compound exercises, like if you can get into the habit of stopping breathing through your mouth and starting breathing through your nose all the time, it's going to help you in a lot of different ways.
constantly have really high stress levels, this once again is potentially killing your testosterone levels, because high stress levels elevate something called cortisol. And this is a hormone that effectively blocks testosterone production in a bid to conserve energy for immediate survival needs. So how do we manage our stress? Well, number one, obviously exercise. Two, start to plan your day. Planning your day can actually provide a lot of stress, especially if you have a lot of work stress, or you can use supplements such as ashwagandha or L-theanine. Those combined can really help elevate your mood, calm anxiety, and help calm cortisol levels. Number four is going to be obesity. I doubt any of you guys watching this video are actually obese, but just know that if you go higher and higher in your body fat levels, I'm saying like above 22%, to the point to where you're getting even moderately obese, or you're looking at yourself being like, yo, I'm looking kind of round, then your testosterone levels are not that good either. For me personally, I found that my highest testosterone levels tend to be between 13 and 15%. So not necessarily ripped, but I'm still at a moderately pretty good body fat percentage. Number five, steroids or even testosterone replacement therapy. So I'm sure you guys know what this is. Probably some of you guys watching this are even on it yourselves. Me personally, I am fully natural. However, I know that whenever you give your body synthetic testosterone or just external testosterone, not from your body's own source, what it's actually going to do is shut down your body's natural testosterone production. So even though you're receiving testosterone up to, high or artificial levels, your body's natural testosterone is actually shut down. And most of you guys know this risk if you are on it. If you are on TRT, you also know the associated risks of potentially being infertile and all the other risks that come with just overall steroid usage. But just know that it's going to take a while for your normal testosterone levels to get up to where they were before if you were to get off. So that's why sometimes they say that, if you get on TRT, it could be like a lifelong decision. And then just steroids in general is a temporary solution that usually isn't worth it in the long run, in my experience. Unless you're a competitive bodybuilder doing IFBB pro shows, honestly, it makes no sense to be super jacked and you work at T-Mobile, bro. Like, it literally makes no sense to me. Number six is going to be
Okay, so two things there. One, he made a really good point about your body it stops producing things like testosterone when you are taking it like as a supplement, right? Like TRT or whatever, right? And it's funny enough that happens to other chemicals that your body naturally produces. So like, for example, I love coffee, right? And I learned, similar to the TRT situation with testosterone, actually, I always wanted to have coffee like as soon as I woke up, right? Now, I actually learned by watching another guy called Dr. Andrew Huberman. He actually talks about a lot of this kind of stuff as well, so I would recommend checking him out. Basically, Dr. Andrew Huberman spoke about this exact thing, right? Because he loves coffee too. And basically, he mentioned that you have to give yourself about an hour or 90 minutes, so an hour and a half, before you take caffeine in, because your body actually naturally produces a chemical or a hormone, and I forget the name of it, but basically it is what helps you wake up, right? So your body does that naturally, especially if you make sure to drink some water first, get a little bit of sunlight, so your body, like your biological clock starts going, everything starts moving. And the funny part about what he's saying, right, it's the same thing with this, right? So if you take caffeine, like if you just wake up and then walk over to the coffee machine or make some coffee like right away, it actually stops your body from producing that chemical that it does to wake you up, right? So you want to actually wait about an hour to an hour and a half before doing that.
sedentary lifestyle. So just because you go to the gym could also mean that you're quite sedentary. I know plenty.
Also, I wanted to say something about the stress, like the cortisol levels he talked about earlier. Like just that one little thing he mentioned about scheduling your day, right? Because let's just say like you're floating through your day or you're getting pulled in all sorts of directions. Like this person needs something from you, your coworker needs this, right? Like your people keep asking stuff of you, right? If you don't have your day planned, right, it's just gonna cause an added level of, one, you need to make more decisions. So right, you're making more mental work for yourself because it wasn't planned, right? And then at the same time, that's gonna make it really difficult for you because you're kind of allowing yourself, like other people, to make decisions for you, and you got this level of anxiety because you're like, oh, like okay, like what's gonna happen next, or what am I doing next? Even if you have like an idea of the things that you need to do, it's always better to plan your day out, right? So there's no stress involved.
People who go to their office jobs 9 to 5 or maybe work shift work outside of going to the gym for an hour and a half, they really don't do anything outside of that. So you yourself will still be sedentary. I believe non-sedentary activity starts to be around 6,000 to 7,000 steps a day. So if you can aim for just that amount of steps per day alongside with the gym, maybe alongside with doing some cardio, some HIIT training, then overall this is just going to be beneficial for your testosterone levels, because not only does being sedentary is just bad for our health, but that's going to constitute more so to potential obesity and getting more fat storage, which has a direct correlation on testosterone levels, all right? So just overall, be more active, get those 6,000 to 7,000 steps a day. And if you're a real baller, honestly aim for 10. Number 7 is going to be excessive cannabis.
And that's a good point too, right? I mean, you know, what he's saying, like 6,000 or 7,000 steps is like a bare minimum, really is what you should be getting. Hopefully naturally you're getting that anyways. And even what he was saying, right? Like it's even better for you to just consistently, a lot of people will actually get in their steps during a day, right? Like they have a step counter on their watch or their phone, and they'll go for 10,000 to 20,000. Now, 10,000 is a pretty good goal to go for. Like if you're getting that every day, like that's pretty good. And if you're getting more, great. I mean, you might have like a weight loss goal, so maybe going up more like towards 20,000 could be helpful for you. But at least starting with what he said, right? Like 6,000 or 7,000 and working your way up and being able to implement it during your day. And actually one thing worth mentioning there is like, that's another thing, just like the gym, where people will say like, I don't have the time, but it's actually really easy. Like, let's say you don't have time to go to the gym, right? Well, you get up from your desk when you have a brief moment and you do a few push-ups, right? A few squats, you know, doing some ab exercises, right? Like getting that exercise in, because there's a floor there, right? You can use your body weight, you can exercise. And same thing goes with the walking, right? Like maybe you can add it in your morning or in between, work calls or on your lunch break or at the end of the day, instead of watching Netflix or something else.
The marijuana, the THC. I might make a video on this. I actually quit myself because I was a user of it too, mostly at night. However, I've noticed so many positive changes from getting off of it, not even from a testosterone aspect, but honestly from a mental health aspect, from a dopamine aspect. Everything about my life has improved once I stopped. So if you yourself are smoking marijuana, especially excessively, you're a wake and bake sort of guy, you know, you're doing it multiple times a day, then chances are you're probably once again killing your testosterone. There seems to be a correlation between anything that is just bad for you in general from a health perspective also will directly kill your testosterone, or at least not have you at optimized sort of levels. So just keep that in mind. Number 8 is going to be.
And one last thing about the sedentary lifestyle, right? Because a lot of people will, they'll do like the hour or hour and a half in the gym, right? Like that's pretty standard. And like he was talking about getting your steps in or doing some sort of like high intensity interval training, HIIT training, or a little bit of cardio, like something like that. Because if you think about it, right, the reason that's important on top of the gym is most people are sitting all the time. Like they're sitting at work, they're sitting when they're relaxing after work, like they're always sitting, right? And there's nothing wrong with sitting a little bit, but we're not supposed to be sitting, right? Which is why a lot of people's postures are messed up. We have tight, hip flexors or different areas, right? We basically mess it up by sitting so much. So your body will essentially thank you, like your health will thank you if you start incorporating one of these other things, like walking, some cardio, or some other sort of cardio training, like the high intensity interval training.
Overtraining. Now, overtraining is definitely very, very subjective. 10 weekly sets for somebody might be 20 to 30 weekly sets for somebody else, but you might want to look at overtraining from a recovery aspect. If you find yourself always sore, if your joints always hurt, if you always feel like you're not getting stronger, but instead you're getting weaker, chances are you're overtraining. And also chances are you're killing your testosterone because of it, because of the, once again, high stress levels directly correlated to your cortisol levels, which could be not having you at optimized levels. So I know a lot of people go to the gym to increase your testosterone levels, but you want to make sure that you have a balanced sort of workout routine. Usually that's going to be anywhere from 10 to 15 weekly sets per muscle group. Some people can also get away with lower depending on your intensity levels. Number 9, lack of sexual activity. Listen, I know it's tough. I have a whole coaching program where I help guys actually, make themselves more attractive, get in shape, and for that reason, they start to have more sexual activity. But if you're a guy right now and you ask yourself, like, it's been a dry spell, it's been over 3 months, then yeah, your testosterone is probably shot. And no, fapping to porn or these artificial things will not help it at all, because being with a real woman and having, primal, real, not raw, wrap it up, but sexual activity can honestly just make your testosterone levels go through the roof. Honestly, even with squatting, barbell squatting, I've noticed that my testosterone tends to at least feel higher. I'm not sure if it actually is, but it feels higher, especially when I'm barbell squatting. And combine that with having regular business meetings, if you know what I mean, then that's a combination for high optimized testosterone levels. So if you're on a dry spell, maybe focus on figuring out a way to where you can get, friends with benefits, something a little bit more consistent. If you need help with that, of course, I'll leave a link down below if you want to join the Digital Romeo mentorship. And lastly, it's going to be.
So that one is pretty interesting. Like I've heard guys mention that, like, like having some sort of added level of intimacy in your life, right? Like added sexual activity. Like I know, like, you know, people have different thoughts on that, but what he's talking about is like that helps increase your testosterone if you are able to do it somewhat regularly. You know, maybe not going like really like super long periods without doing it. You know, because again, like there's this sort of pros and cons to that, and I mean, obviously, the ultimate benefit to that, right? Like, would be, or the best situation probably would be you finding an amazing woman that you want to stay with, right? So it's not like you being a playboy necessarily. It's just you actually having someone that you want to keep around, and so you have that deeper connection between you two, right? Rather than needing to consistently, you know, find another person, this and that, right? Like it's also like a massive time sink. Excuse me, but on top of that, the weightlifting thing, like the overtraining thing he mentioned, I mean, that's a really good point. And a lot of guys, like, there's sort of like a mix. Because what he said was really good. Like you might be overtraining if you have any of those things he talked about, like the joint soreness, stuff like that. Now, once you get used to the gym a little bit more, you know, a good way to not overtrain would be doing each muscle group, let's say like twice a week, right? So like you could do push, pull, legs, push, pull, legs, right? So you're in the gym 6 times a week. It keeps you disciplined and consistent, and that way each muscle group gets time to rest. And of course, I mean, you can take a little more time if you need to, but maybe like push, pull, legs, rest day, push, pull, legs, rest day, something like that, just to make sure that you're staying consistent. And that way you'll see a lot more growth more quickly and just figure out what works best for your body.
Unfiltered tap water. Now, I know we grew up drinking from the hose. However, if you have the means and ability to have filtered water, then I highly recommend you get filtered water, because tap water, depending on where you live, especially, it could be filled with chemicals that can disrupt your hormone levels. It could be filled with all sorts of stuff. So me, I just get a Brita filter, or when I go out, I tend to buy the spring water, which natural spring water tends to be the best. So if you can get some sort of filter, then I highly recommend you do that. Otherwise, just drinking straight from the tap is not doing too good for your body. Now, this is honestly very debatable and very controversial, but I found that just purifying your water, it does more good than bad versus drinking tap water. All right, guys, those were the 10 things killing your testosterone.
And by the way, like that's a big thing that a lot of people are finding out now, right? Like your tap water, right? If it's unfiltered, it's got a lot of chemicals and things like estrogens or fluoride that's killing your testosterone, among other things, as well as drinking basically or eating anything from plastic, right? Because it also has like estrogens and chemicals that are coming out into your body.
Remember, count up how many of these things you do. If it's 3 or more, then you need to optimize your levels and maybe make some lifestyle adjustments. However, if it's only 1, if it's only 2, and especially if it's none, you might be in optimized levels, and this is where you can do other things to further enhance your testosterone. So, you know, supplements, natural supplements at that, and other means of just an overall positive lifestyle. Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Awesome, guys. Well, obviously, cool guy. Got a lot of great points in that video. You know, Austin's got a great YouTube channel, so I recommend checking him out for other helpful tips and things like that. And yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one.